It's 12 hours GMT. This is the Midday News. We're live from Joy 99.7 FM in Accra, Love 99.5 FM in Kumasi, affiliates across the country, including Jubilee Radio, Keta, A1 Radio, and Radio Wa in Wa, Radio Max, Takrade. You can download the MyJoy Line app and from the Play Store and App Store to listen live on the internet. And coming up in the next 30 minutes, scores of people remain displaced after fire ravaged Asafo Bibi, Islam community in the Ashanti regional capital, Kumasi.
About 40 shacks were burnt completely by the fire.
We are live on the ground. Also, UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres asked government around the world, including Ghana, to ensure an independent and diverse media free from harassment.
In too many countries, they run great personal risks, including new restrictions, censorship, abuse, harassment, detention, and even death, simply for doing their jobs. And the situation continues to worsen.
We'll hear from him as the world marks World Press Freedom Day today, and an elephant killed, a chief worried, and a manhunt for the killers underway.
According to them, yesterday when you come here, the time they were here, the guns that was shooting is about 20 or more.
We have details from the incident in the West Mamprisi municipality. And it's that time of the year again. The National Science and Maths Quiz is here, and the journey begins for schools wishing to claim the bragging right and fight for the sport.
We expect to go as far as our seniors went, so that we can put us at the top again.
Thanks for making time with us. We are your home of independent, fearless, and credible journalism. Now, scores of people are displaced after fire destroyed about 50 shacks at Asafo Bibi near Kokobot, property where thousands of cedis were also lost to the fire. Affected persons had to pass the night with friends in the slum, as others did so in the open. Nanao Jima has more in this report.
Efia Pokria is a relative of the deceased. She arrived few minutes after the child body of the teenage boy was conveyed from the scene. She weeps uncontrollably. The auntie says the deceased has ignored all cautions against living in the slum. She says he lived at Atonsu with his father, but he joined some friends and relocated to the slum. His father told me today he received a call that his son is dead, so I came to confirm. About 40 shacks were burnt completely by the fire. The fire is suspected to have been started by a couple who were cooking with a coal pot. The area is known for pillow production. The cotton raw material is believed to have ignited the flame. Here are some eyewitnesses. Some people were cooking somewhere in the middle of the affected portion. That is how the fire started. They are drug addicts. They refuse to listen to any advice. All we heard was a lady shout, "Akwesi is burning the place." So we came out and realized one guy is locked inside. We tried unlocking him, but the fire kept coming to our end. So we had to leave. Many wept as they watched their property burn completely. Families affected by the fire are worried about where to pass the night. The Ghana National Fire Service and the Ghana Police teamed up to douse the flame. Though the fire service have been able to douse the flame here, the men are trying to soak the cotton here so that if there's any more flame under the cotton, it cannot be reignited. DO1 Rashid Isaku is Kumasi Metro Fire Officer.
At the moment, we are unable to tell you the cause of fire because we have to fight the fire, do the salvaging before we commence our investigations. So our investigation is what is going to unravel the cause of the fire.
The Asafo Bibi is a slum along the railway line in Kumasi. People occupying the area do so illegally. For Joy News, Nana Ojima reporting.
Let's go to Asafo now and speak to correspondent Nana Yaojima. Nana, first tell us what is happening there as we speak.
So this morning when I went to the place, there were some people who were there to look at the remains or what their belongings now become of, and there were others who were there to scavenge some of the stuff that the fire left behind. So the residents or people who live in these areas or the affected area this morning have been counting their loss.
And we understand that NADMO has been there. They visited the victims. What have they been saying?
So yesterday, NADMO was there. This morning, too, I understand that some personnel from the National Disaster Management Organization have been to the place to visit the victims of the fire. But so far, they are yet to receive anything from the NADMO in terms of mattresses or anything that could help them in this time moment.
And we know that the fire service has launched investigation into this incident. Any update from them?
So according to the fire service, yesterday they were able to douse the fire completely. This morning they've been there and they've taken records of what has been happening on the ground. So this later in the day, we expect them to go ahead with the investigations, and if there are any updates us accordingly.
And you heard Nana Ojima with Love FM there bringing us an update on the fire incident at Asafo Bibi. Now, government is being urged to ensure an independent and diverse media free from harassment. Secretary General of the United Nations, Antonio Guterres, says in addition to the financial challenges facing media organizations arising from the COVID-19 pandemic, issues of abuse still persist. The issue has been topical here in Ghana in the last few weeks following a speech by statesman Sam Jonah on whether there was a return of the dreaded culture of silence. The world is today marking World Press Freedom Day. There's more in the following report.
In April 2018, the Media Foundation for West Africa listed 17 instances where journalists were attacked within 15 months in Ghana. It includes the attack on Joy News journalist Latif Idris, who was brutally beaten while on assignment at the police headquarters.
I approached one officer who was standing in front of one of the crowd control vehicles. I asked him if they have any special name for the crowd control vehicle. Then, in a very rude manner, he said in a can that I should get off. Free me so nkwasiasem anadino abebisa me in a can. I got embarrassed, so I turned and I was walking away and I said, "Oh Charlie." The "Oh Charlie" I said was my offense. He held my shirt, pulled me back, and slapped me in the face. He came and held me again. "Who are you? I'm talking to you," and you're telling me, "Oh Charlie," and then pushed me to a crowd of police officers who had gathered in front of the headquarters. There were more than 20. They didn't know what was going on between the two of us. But I don't know, they all started beating me, slapping me here and
Other incidents captured include an attack on a freelance journalist, Kendrick Ofer, by soldiers in March 2017 during Ghana's 60th independence celebration. 2 journalists, including an editor working with Modern Ghana, were arrested and interrogated by national security operatives in July 2019. Lawyer for the Modern Ghana journalist Samson Ladi Anyenini was unhappy.
This is the republic that our forefathers fought with their blood and toil. Our generation must stand up to be counted, that the processes of the court and the powers of the state will not be used by certain individuals for their own parochial personal interest. You have a complaint about a publication they put up, an article. You call them, ask them to pull it down. They pulled it down. You are now looking for something to stick and say they have committed cybercrime.
Ghana currently ranks number 30 in the World Press Freedom Index. In 2016, the nation ranked 26th. Media watchers say the current position of the nation is as a result of the attacks on journalists, many of which remain unresolved. A key case often referred to is the gruesome murder of investigator Ahmed Hussein Swale, who worked closely with investigative journalist Anas Arimi Anas.
Ahmed was rushing, so he used the car to enter that kiosk, that saloon over there. So he used the car to enter, and then the man went there again and gave him the last shot. So make it three gunshots. He followed him into the shot and gave him 3 gunshots. Ahmed was inside the car.
Statesman Sam Jonah has been asking questions about whether the nation is returning to the dreaded days when freedom of speech was a rare commodity, the culture of silence.
Those who used to have voices on these things seem to have lost their voices. It's a definite silence suggesting that we are no longer concerned about issues that we complained about yesterday. The molestation and, in some cases, assassination of journalists, murder of MPs, corruption, the harassment of agents.
And that was a News Desk report. Well, some of you have been sharing your views on what you make of press freedom in Ghana and whether it is under attack or not.
I do not think that the Ghanaian media is under any form of attack. I am a blogger. I am able to comment on national issues, entertainment, whatever story it may be, from whatever angle I choose to. And if I'm doing my work right, or if I do my work right, I don't get any backlash from anyone, be it government institution, be it ordinary citizens or whatever.
Our ranking on press freedom index may not be encouraging as a country, but then I think that Ghana generally, we do well in terms of allowing our journalists to operate free. But my issue is with how we pursue cases involving violence on journalists. We don't get to the end of the issue.
But let us look at where we have come from and where we are today and make an honest comparison. Whether the media is under freedom, whether the media is under attack, or there seems to be a positive light for all of us.
Well, the theme for this year's World Press Freedom Celebration is information as a public good. United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres says pressmen can only provide information to the public if they are free from harassment.
During the pandemic and in other crises, including the climate emergency, journalists and media workers help us navigate a fast-changing and often overwhelming landscape of information, while addressing dangers, inaccuracies and falsehoods. In too many countries, they run great personal risk, including new restrictions, censorship, abuse, harassment, detention, and even death, simply for doing their jobs. And the situation continues to worsen. The economic impact of the pandemic has hit many media outlets hard, threatening their very survival. I urge all governments to do everything in their power to support a free, independent, and diverse media. Free and independent journalism is our greatest ally in combating misinformation and disinformation.
And you had the UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres. Let me take you now to the northeast region. The paramount chief of Wungu in the West Mampris municipality of the region, Na Zakori Sanka Suleimana, has authorized a manhunt for a group of armed residents who attacked and killed a bull elephant. The assemblyman for Wungu, Al-Hassan Nasiru, who spoke on behalf of the paramount chief, said the chief is furious about the matter because the residents chose to disregard his warning against killing of the animal after its presence in the area was brought to his attention. Correspondent Ilyasu Tanko has more.
The animal was killed near a small stream outside the villages of Palio and Misiu, about 15 minutes ride from the Wungu town. At the scene, the animal was slaughtered and its head, including the ivory, taken away by the killers. The rest of the body was severely riddled with bullets. The assemblyman for Wungu, Al-Hassan Nasiru, who spoke on behalf of the paramount chief, said the chief is furious over the matter.
It was yesterday in the morning around 8:30 thereabout. We was in the palace when we hear that there is an elephant crossing Yama Road. So they called Nanzoa to inform chief, the paramount chief of Wungu. So he told them they shouldn't touch it, they should leave it alone. So by a few minutes time, we hear that it is in Misho. So they recall again and he said nobody should touch it, they should leave it alone. So wherever it is, it will go back to where it is. You don't allow anybody to do anything to it. So later on, around 3 thereabout, we hear that they have a group of people came and shot and buried.
The assemblyman also said the chief has ordered a search for those behind the killing.
But first of all, he was looking for those who have killed it. He didn't get. So because of that, they should leave it alone. We didn't even see a person who said they are the group of people who killed it. Because according to them, yesterday when you come here, the time they were here, the guns that was shooting is about 20 or more.
He said attempts were being made by the paramount chief to contact health and the forestry services in Wale Wale to report the matter. The scene of the incident was literally a tourist attraction, as dozens of the locals from far and near thronged the place to have a look at the killed mama. While many came with the intention to get a share of the meat, others came just to watch and take pictures on their mobile phones.
We all hear that elephants have been shot and dead at Palu. Here we call it Palu. So all of us were here to witness and to see it. Some of us never even seen elephant before. So in fact, when we hear that, it was very amazing to everybody. So we're all here to see how elephants look like.
Ilyasu Tanko reporting.
Let's go live then now. Ilyasu joins us with an update on the story. Ilyasu, first of all, any idea how the investigation is going?
Well, the chief has been very busy with his elders this morning in regard to this particular issue. What we are learning is that a group of vigilante guys will be deployed to search for those people behind this particular killing. And so as we speak right now, we understand that the Wild Division have visited the chief, and the chief has assured them that he will help them investigate or find these particular killers.
But help us, what were the circumstances surrounding the killing of this elephant?
Well, according to the chief, I was in that particular community, and according to information that we gathered, this particular elephant was spotted at a community called Yama. The residents there called the paramount chief of Wungu to inform him about the presence of the animal in the area. And according to, you heard in the clip there, the assemblyman, the chief ordered that the animal should not be harmed and that it should be left alone. And according to the chief, later on, the animals appeared again at a community called Mishu. And the chief was then called again. The chief gave the same order. However, some people, came and killed this particular animal. As we understand, more than 20 men engaged this particular animal and killed it. It is believed that it was shot or it was killed by gun.
But this is such a huge animal killed in a small community. What are the residents saying? What are their suspicions?
Well, the residents are saying that, like I said, they said that more than 20 people engaged and killed it. And at the time that I was there on that particular day, a lot of residents, some came from far and near, just to see this particular huge animal, while others also came with their cutlass ready to get the carcass for feast. So there are lots of young men who came with their knives and cutlasses just to get the meat of this particular animal. A lot of them also came, some stood by this particular falling giant mammal to take pictures on their mobile phones. A lot of people were very surprised. Others also said that this was the first time that they were seeing an elephant.
So what is the state of the elephant now? It should be decomposing by now.
Not at all. Like I said, many residents were there, and as soon as the chief ordered that nobody should touch the animal, as immediately the chief, people who came to represent the chief left the scene, the people started butchering the animal. Yesterday, I visited the same place, and all that I saw was the intestines of the animal left at that particular scene. But the entire flesh, the meat, the carcass have been taken away by the residents.
Ilyasu, thank you very much for this update. A rather disturbing incident there in the northeast region. Ilyasu will be following this, will be on the beat and bring us up to speed in our subsequent bulletins. Now, away from that, the National Commission for Civic Education says it will be intensifying education in areas like Kaswa, where issues of crime among the youth appear to be on the rise, following the killing of the 11-year-old boy at Kaswa, allegedly by two teenagers there. A section of Ghanaians blamed it on the lack or low level of civic education and moral values. Speaking during a visit to the Joy Newsroom as part of this year's Constitution Week, Deputy Chairperson of the NCCE, Kathleen Addy, said education will be stepped up to address the challenges in such communities.
will beef up our education. Whenever there's a peculiar problem in a peculiar district, we make extra effort to ensure that, we come together and resolve that problem. Because, our staff also act as arbitrators. This, for instance, I expect that our staff in the district where this happened or in the metropolis where this happened will be up to the task, engage the community, and do some additional education around the issues that have come up. We are hoping that when we come up with different ideas to address the mindset issues that we all acknowledge as a problem in our country, we will get the support that we need.
And you had the Deputy Chairperson of the NCCE, Kathleen Addy. This is the Midday News. We're taking a break, but when we return, we'll take you around the country and then... The National Science and Maths Quiz is here again. The journey begins for schools wishing to claim the bragging rights as they fight for the sport. We'll bring you details after this break.
We expect to go as far as
Welcome back to the Midday News here on Joy 99.7 FM with me, Ernest Min. Let me take you around the country now. We start from the capital. The Greater Accra Regional Coordinating Council continues its demolition of buildings situated in waterways. Today, officials of the Regional Coordinating Council and the Tema West Municipal Assembly are demolishing a washing bay and a private home in Lashibi in preparation ahead of the raining season and also to prevent the recurrence of flooding in that area. The Regional Minister Henry Korte visited the two sites last month, and he liaised with the authorities of the Assembly to undertake this particular exercise. My colleague Kweku Asante is there and joins us with an update. Kweku, this private home was occupied. Tell us more.
Hello.
Yes, Kweku, can you hear me? We seem to have a terrible line to my colleague Kweku Asante, who is following this exercise in Tema with the Greater Accra Regional Coordinating Council. Let's go back to the phone lines and see if we have Kweku there. Kweku, if you can hear me, well, Kweku is still not on the line, but we can hear from the assemblyman for the Lashibi area who is with the Coordinating Council undertaking this exercise.
Yeah, we are told this facility belongs to you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It is a 3-bedroom house which I put up. Yeah. And then...
Did you seek permit?
Not really. In fact, I started the project before coming to office. So when I started getting the rumor that it is not the appropriate place to start the project, I think that as a leader, I didn't want to start anything with permitting, so that it would be like an impunity has happened somewhere where the place is not entitled to be given a permit, and I alone would just put up a document that I haven't. Had it happened, it would have been so...
That's an assemblyman in Lashibi, and let me apologize for the poor quality of sound there. But let's return to the phone lines and speak to Kweku Asante for an update. Kweku, I understand this facility actually belongs to the assemblyman you spoke to.
Right. So the assemblyman Shaibu Kabori has been telling me that he's very sorry that this facility was put up in this waterway, and he's saying that he has no regrets that the regional ministry, together with the assembly, has decided to pull down the facility. And he's saying that he's advising members in this area to shun the construction of some of these facilities, these homes, and these private establishments in the waterway. And he's saying that they are going to ensure that in the future none of these things happen. He says he's not going to press the assembly for any compensation, but what he has done, he understands that it was very wrong.
Tell us about the washing bay and the owners. How are they reacting?
Right, so the washing bay and the owners are not here today, but the information are taken from officials of the assembly is that they are very livid about this situation and are actually blaming the assemblyman of the area for bringing these regional and district officials to come and demolish the facility. But the assemblyman is saying that he has no knowledge of this. He had his own 3-bedroom facility right in the waterway. And so if he went to report for this washing bay to be pulled down, then his facility would also be pulled down. And so he's saying he does not have any idea, but the officials of this washing bay are very livid about the situation and are not present here today.
Thank you very much. That's my colleague Kwekwa Sante bringing us updates from Lashibi. Let me take you to the Western region now. The Sekandi Takoradi Metropolitan Assembly has this morning relocated about 3,000 traders from the Takoradi Market Circle to the Ahimfie Hotel Temporal Market. Now, the move, according to the Metropolitan Assembly, is to make way for the redevelopment of the 93-year-old Takoradi Market Circle. Let's listen to some of the traders.
Minister Minipata, now I catch you in the young solid, no young Banu market, a Jubilee Park, Wyama, Ahana Yabenu, young Hudu, BPL point there, Makati, why and ready there, young Batanaduaha, Naya Wamba, your Binuhoya Okunafu, Naya Fit Markets Nana, by Yadif Yambano, young Tom what's enough here. Every from now, I can why every from nu, what foot in a walk, or one or so, I she will walk. Nasia, why for no better yako? Yeah, than I say, what's you.
And you heard that some traders are Takoradi speaking to Joy News, many of them not happy with the relocation, and many of them say they do not have a good place to sell. Now, the journey to the 2021 National Science and Maths Quiz begins today, as over 400 schools will in the next 4 weeks battle in the regional competition for a slot at the national stage later in October. Here in the Greater Accra region, West African Senior High School will face competition from Tema Secondary School, Kimbu Senior High Technical School, and Persek Osu. Let's go to the phone lines now and speak to my colleague Maxwell Adada. Maxwell, bring us up to speed on this year's event as the regionals start.
Well, and as the first contest has ended, Holy Trinity Cathedral Senior High School is the first school in the Greater Accra region to book a place at the national competition in October. They beat Adan Senior High School and Teshi Presby Senior High School. The West Africa Senior High School, Tema Secondary School, Kimbu Senior High Technical School, Persek Osu contest just started. Many have predicted a win for West Africa SHS because they stand tall amongst their competitors. In 2018, they missed out on being crowned national champions after they lost to St. Peter's SHS by just 1 point. In all, NS 34 schools will be taking part in this regional qualifiers. 9 winning schools will make it to the national competition. They will join the 4 seeded schools from the Greater Accra region, making it 13 at the national competition in October. Ongoing is the second contest for the day. 2 more to go, NS.
As always, the contestants are upbeat about this year's competition. You have been interacting with some of them. What are they telling you?
Well, all of them are optimistic that they are going to win the 2021 trophy. But we know that at the end of the day, it's just going to be one school.
Well, Maxwell, tell us about what to expect the next competition and how we can follow the conversation.
Well, and in the third contest for the day, we have Olam Senior High School, we have Nungwa Senior High School, Bachelor Senior High School, and then Accra High Senior High School. That's the contest 3. And then contest 4, we have Tema Methodist Senior High School, Stone Community Senior High School, Armed Forces Senior High Technical School, Ebenezer Senior High School, and then English Manfom Senior High School. You can follow all the updates on our social media pages and then the National Science and Maths School social media pages. We're giving live updates as well on television on the Joy News channel.
Thank you very much, Maxwell Aluba, for bringing us update on the National Science and Maths Quiz here in Accra. Let's go to the Upper West region. Manor Canton is there for us. Manor, what's the latest where you are?
Yeah, so Ernest, the very first contest for the day just ended, and St. Francis Xavier Junior Seminary has just thumped its arch rivals, Nandom Senior High School. You know, these two schools are the only boys' schools in the Upper West region, and they have been battling for supremacy in the region. At the end of the very first contest, which featured 3 schools, St. Francis Xavier Senior High School came up top with 50 points, followed by a distant second, Nandom Senior High School with 21 points, and then Tumu Senior High Technical School managed only 18 points. It's been an exciting setup of the competition and more expected as the day progresses, Ernest.
Manuel Cranton for bringing us an update on this year's National Science and Maths Quiz from the Upper West region, and Manuel will be covering the entire of the Northern Zone, bringing us update on this year's competition. You can join the conversation on social media with the hashtag NSMQ and on Joy. And that's it for the Midday News here on Joy 99.7 FM. Up next is Pastor Mensa Otabil with Living Word, Change What You're Wearing Part 2. And you can find more stories when you log on to myjoyonline.com. We have Create an Atmosphere that is more tolerant of criticism and devoid of intimidation. That's Mahama to Akufo-Addo as we celebrate World Press Freedom Day. This and more on myjoyonline.com. I'm Ernest Mino. Good afternoon.